Virtus.Pro's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Complexities turn to ban.
Doom.
Complexities turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Complexities turn to pick.
Disruptor!
Remaining. Virtus.Pro's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Lion.
Complexities turn to ban. Virtus.Pro's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Complexities turn to ban. Virtus.Pro's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Complexities turn to pick. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Slada.
Virtus.Pro's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Puck!
Complexities turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
I speak for the trees.
Virtus.Pro's turn to pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Ten seconds remaining.
Earth Spirit.
Complexities turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. Virtus.Pro's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. 5 seconds remaining. Virtus.Pro's turn to pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Medusa.
Complexities turn to pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Razor.
Well, our analysts don't seem to think so. A lot of Medusa haters here, apparently, as most of the Dota scene isn't really favoring the hero too much. But Virtus.Pro going out there for the 5th pick Medusa. Purge, you gonna save us here? You a fan?
I might be a Medusa hater too. I'm just not sold on it. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have that much damage. The ultimate doesn't really synergize with the rest of her allies because it makes them immune to magic, and pretty much her whole team does magic damage. So, and now with Razor, they can just sap her damage, and then she actually does nothing other than Snake. So, I'm just not sold on it just yet.
I'm
Cole's
not
got
sure
good
if I'm too
counters
sold
though.
either.
Like they said, Sunray, it's not amazing because a lot of her HP is technically in her mana pool, but she also does have big HP, so the Sunray should do a lot, and they have amp damage. Might go good. We'll see.
There is somebody who said about the Medusa ult, Stone Gaze. It's got to be a little problematic for the Phoenix, right? You can't just sit there sunraying because you're facing the Stone
That's
Gaze.
actually a good point,
Well,
yeah.
it's a small little thing, right? You gotta look at the little things from Virtus.Pro. You know, if you're a fan of them anyway right now, because it's not been a great tournament for them so far.
Yeah, that's actually not a small thing at all. It could at the very least delay when Supernova goes off, but if Phoenix is paying attention, he should see the cooldown going down on Phoenix, and then it shows like a duration, I think. Maybe it doesn't, but they don't even have that many good egg hitters either. I guess it's like what, Puck and Medusa basically.
Yeah, they don't really have a really high attack speed hero, that's for sure.
And they've got good AoE disable on complexities. They can sprout the supernova so that you just can't see it.
Yeah.
They can blink slider stun. They can put down static field to keep them away, for example.
Yeah, there's a lot of small options that Complexity have to be able to protect the Phoenix Egg, and every little effort helps, as it's such a hugely impactful team fight ability. If you can actually get the egg off, successfully have it live through its duration, the second of stun duration to all the heroes, all the enemies nearby, and then the best part probably, another round of Sunray.
Yeah.
As if the first one wasn't good enough.
Well, what's our total damage? I haven't done the math on this in a while. Oh, I guess it's not direct. It says the max damage it scales. It does more at the end rather than earlier. But it lasts for 6 whole seconds, so we're talking a lot of damage.
Hear the crowd while they're waiting for the game to resume, starting a Virtus.Pro chant, rather. Rather small one, though. We did have a little bit of action. We had some early TPs out. Phoenix did run to the Earth Spirit. Looks like they did manage to get counter ward out, taking away, I believe, a mid ward was placed by Virtus.Pro. Other than that, Treant eaten. Doom got some value there. We'll have the Devour ready to go when it's time to pick up his hard camp creep.
Can we bring up the gold graph after that one? It's significant. Thank you, Observer.
There we go.
Look at that.
Web is showing us that even in game 2, it's supposed to be a fresh start. They're still going to start out with an advantage.
I think the biggest discrepancies coming from the golden disadvantage right now is the fact that VP has not placed all their sentries and observer wards yet. So see if that has a huge impact on the mid-game team fights and any kind of comeback mechanics.
Purge really breaking down the numbers for us. Nope, you're going to do some body blocking here in the mid lane to make it that much easier for our Puck. Dusa at the top lane. Z-Freak doing something similar here. Got to get that range creep out in front and see if they can get the early deny. The Limp actually wants it.
That was
quite in front.
That was a good block. That last little couple inches. Razor is pretty good against Puck though for this reason. You just take a lot of his damage.
It doesn't quite matter here. They're going to be able to jump forward. Sunray is some return fire though. And will be able to force No Fear back. Seems like this is going to be a common theme. Phoenix hanging around in the middle lane. Whenever you're unsure of whether or not your mid laner is going to be ganked up, just have Phoenix kind of hanging around. Maybe do a little stacky or something, and always have the Sunray to be able to fall back on if things get a little nasty.
Huge sentry deny in the mid lane did actually nothing. But at least if they get any invis runes, they can maybe set up on mid. That'd be kind of cool. And the offlane Chessie's actually playing there this game, normally plays carrier mid, but whenever they do Slardar picks, it's usually Swindles farming in the safe lane if it's not an appropriate offlane hero. So
right.
Kind of cool to see them swap around like that, and it's still pretty strong for them.
Swindles matched up against absolutely nobody for now, as FNG is going to spend his time in the jungle, probably learning a little bit just like Swindles did. No reason to try and put the Doom in the lane in the beginning. Pick up that Iron Talon off of jungling and get yourself at least a few levels before you go in. Because it feels like it's necessary to get like level 2 or maybe even 3 of Scorched Earth to really get the high amounts of regen to promote your survivability in lane. Otherwise, you're just too squishy with the lack of armor.
Yeah, it's really tough actually. And again, same as last game, Disruptor can really punish you as an offlane hero if you get out of position.
Yeah.
His camp was blocked. They did get a D ward on Complexity's side though. So they've got control of their large camp now. Doom basically is never going to know where the supports are unless they're getting, which means that ganking mid is going to be a bit tougher here for VP.
Wow. G gets the jump away, but the drain sticks on him. And this will mean G not going to be able to pick up a whole lot of last hits here. See Limp using that extra damage to get all the times.
It's kind of a weird game with the Prophet in the offlane though. I just see him as completely focusing on farming. Like with Doom jungling, you can't gank him. Puck mid, he's a hard kill. All he basically does is try to get as much as he can out of the lanes. That's Chessie's job this game. Farm his items, get maybe a mech, and then Complexity can group and team fight. Maybe supports rotate top and gank his lane, but for once we won't see Nature's Prophet rotate most likely.
Yeah, the supports aren't really shutting him out of lane either. He's already level 3, so doing pretty well there, keeping up with Swindles, who I like that play. Just pushes past the tier 1 tower to see if the offlaner is there. G is actually going to be rotated on now by Chessie. They're going to try and chase him down. They have the Sunray as well. They might be able to finish him off. A little bit more Sunray damage, but he's one step ahead. Bottle in the healing salve will bring him right back up to full.
He was just a little closer, would have been a first blood. So they do end up TPing. He must have used Orb offensively. It's really the only time that you can get those kills.
Yeah.
Fear might go on Limp though. He only has 400 HP. Z-Freak's behind the Sunray, so they're going in.
The roll misses. No Fear, not able to get the FNG. Still managed to get an Infernal Blade to slow him down. They have the extra nuke with the Shockwave, but Limp is healed up at least a little bit from that Sunray, enough to be able to prevent G from going for the dive. And now, speaking of dive, Z-Free's going to throw an Icarus dive and actually catches G, slowing him down. Gets a little bit of extra damage. Doesn't look like they'll be able to finish him off, though.
Almost take there for Hanskin. I don't know if he was out of range or what, but he had the glimpse right before he anticipated Puck to jaunt, and if he would have done that, he would have brought Puck all the way back. They would have guaranteed the kill. So still no first bloods this game, but they're lacking some disables. We haven't seen the Lion rotate either. He's been consistently sitting top. He's basically been dealing with Treants this whole game. One really nice thing that Prophet does is that if not for there being a Nature's Prophet here and him getting a lot of levels, Lion might have been mid, and that could have been a Razor kill.
Yeah. At least Medusa isn't really pressured by those Treants too much. In fact, you're seeing the CS score right now. She's top of the board, probably because she's picked up at least a couple of Treant kills. So while the support can't keep Nature's Prophet totally out of lane and he's getting levels, Medusa is still getting the free farm necessary to turn her into a true hard carry. They're going to be able to finish up with a roll. No Fear gets the kick, and yeah, even with the Sunray, it won't matter. Virtus.Pro pick up the first blood on No Fear.
That was really nicely done by Aloha Dance. He basically walked into the left side secret shop. He approached from the left.
Oh, he's actually got Aloha Dance here. He still has the Icarus dive. He's going to be hit by the Mystic Snake, cancels the dive now, and he's going to be rolled on. Looks like he'll have to trade himself for that Lion kill. No Fear picks up the double.
Yeah, good initiation, but the counter rotations to get some kills, and well, that's one of the really good things they do. Phoenix has reach, Disruptor can do something similar, Prophet and Slardar are all very good at reaching. And I like that Swindle's just going, hopefully, straight for the Blink Dagger. Alliance made that mistake earlier today. They want the fast armlet, but then it's hard to initiate. If the faster you get your Blink Dagger, the faster you can move around the map, getting kills, especially against a hero like Puck. It's super important that you can get those kills. Alright, Treads. I'm okay with that, though. Gives him good laning, more mana pool, better 1v1, he can take tower faster.
Lim still dominating this mid matchup, 27-8 compared to the 17-4 of the Puck. But again, this is one of those matchups that's expected. A CS advantage to one side. It's really going to be the rotations of G and how effective those are. that is going to determine the success of the puck, not necessarily the mid matchup. So he's going to go for the 6-minute rune.
With no damage, though. So if you do 1 damage, you do same damage to egg, right? Like Phoenix egg? Oh, there's a wraparound bottom.
Yeah, I believe so. Trying to catch No Fear. They're going to see him with the Treant. He still has the roll away, so they know they can't actually get him. They're just zoning some of these heroes back from experience range. Not going to be able to get a kill, looks like, but can at least keep them back. Meanwhile, Virtus.Pro are actually going for a rotation around mid. Smoked up. Aloha Dance and FNG. Seeing if they can catch out Limp with the Dream Coil leading the way. This looks like a free kill, but Limp is kind of tanky. Let's see. The Sunray is going to be able to help him out a little bit more. The nukes are barely enough for Virtus.Pro, but it looks like there may be a turnaround kill. Aloha Dance does end up dying. Chessie is going to be chased away by the tanky hero of FNG's Doom. And a 1-for-1 trade-up, but well worth it to VP.
They'll definitely be happy with that. No Fear jumping over to the tree line. Swindles could maybe get this kill, but he's got to use the Quelling Blade. Can he get the right tree? All right, he goes through.
Yeah. Oh, no Fear! He misses the stun, and now he's in serious trouble. Throws out the silence, but will end up getting right-click down. Aloha Dance comes in. Underneath the tier 2 tower, Swindles is stunned up, but there's no follow-up from VP. Puck not having the TP just yet, only just now had it delivered. Maybe he could have capitalized on that one if he was a little bit faster.
Yeah, easily. Swindles also had sprint up because he had to close the gap there. And a little bit of burst damage, and that easily could have been a kill. So, for complexity, they're playing this tier 2 tower like it's their safe lane, you know? They're being really aggressive here. And it's surprising they can do this with there being a puck in the game.
FNG wants to pick up his level 6 before he goes for another rotation, but with the amp damage now up on the Slardar, it's a tough ask to have him stay in lane constantly like that.
It's actually pretty amazing that they can get that kill, though, and the only reason they could is because no Dream Coil and the no TP. Even if he did have a TP, though, it would have been a little scary to get that kill. So even if Limp does die to something like Puck Dream Coil, it allows Swindle to do something really aggressive like that, because he knows it's a lot harder for his opponents to punish him, especially when there's a hero like Medusa in the game. Like, that hero can do very little unless you're super past towers. They can't respond to a lot of these ganks here in complexity. If they can keep pushing this advantage and keep trading kills or getting kills, they're going to transition better into the mid-game team fights.
Tier 1 tower is going to go down, attempt to deny from the Treant. Not so lucky as it gives up its life. 4,200 net worth on the Medusa, but it's still about half of what you need to be able to have for you to be an effective team fighting hero. So there's still definitely a lot of time that complexity can ignore the Medusa and let her farm away and just establish dominance on the other 2 sides of the lanes. But bottom lane, Swindles is going to get jumped on. The roll doesn't hit, but the cake certainly does. Now they follow up with the silence. Dream Coil, and Swindles is not making out of this one alive. Virtus.Pro now takes some control of the enemy safe lane.
That was the most inevitable I've ever seen. The silence into stun. He gets bursted down. He was missing about half his HP, but he did buy his Blink Dagger before he went down. So I don't think he really cares that much, because now he gets a free TP to another lane. They're not necessarily going to anticipate which one it's going to be. And if he can get a kill with that, it's a huge advantage.
Now, where do you think that is? Because it looks like Complexity are going to start pushing in mid, and Virtus.Pro are actually heading, well, they're going to send one here. That's going to be G's Puck at bottom. I guess maybe he can TP to mid for some sort of defense if necessary.
Yeah, I guess they could go mid, pressure tier 1 tower. He could also go top, maybe try to gank the Medusa, but she's still a hard kill. Her mana's a bit low right now since she doesn't have her perseverance yet, and he is actually running mid on Slar. He could have TP'd, but he grabs the smoke instead. Pretty costly smoke. He really needs to get a good initiation here, and they are going to take a 5v5.
It seems inevitable, though, that Virtus.Pro will be caught out by the first reveal of the Blink Dagger plus the smoke, but maybe not. FNG chased down by the Sunray. Now there comes the crush from Swindles. The TPs are coming in from VP, and they have an opportunity to be able to respond. The send back on the Medusa, and now Complexity have a huge numbers advantage. 3 versus 5 will go for an extra kill, and that will be on No Fear.
Really nicely done. I don't know if the smoke necessarily needed on Slardar, but they initiate on VP. VP thought they could take a fight there, but I think the only way that works is if Medusa has full mana, she's in position, doesn't have to TP in for the obvious glimpse, and she had to pop her ulti as soon as they initiated on Doom. That's the only way they win that team fight. So VP was not properly ready for Complexity's dive like that, and they should have expected it.
5-4 Virtus.Pro. Again, seems like just an innate problem with initiation. Like, having a fight around that tier 1 tower is never going to go right if you're TPing into it against a disruptor like that, right? So they had to kind of anticipate the movements of complexity a bit better if they were going to take that fight at all, and if they weren't, then they just needed to cut their losses nice and early.
Whether they lose Doom and Earth Spirit, it's not the worst heroes ever to lose, but that is your off lane. That's one of your team fighting supports. On the other side of the map, Aloha Dance here is just trying to stabilize a bit, but he's just barely hitting level 5, so they're kind of losing a lot of ground in many places here.
Wrap from VP, the smoke is going to get popped here. They need a kill off of this one, and they started going for Chessie, but Swindles actually will be able to counter that one, no fear. I think he decided that they would still be able to catch Chessie, but G correctly made the read that there was no way, not against the 2 cores of complexity, so he backs out.
Well, coL's getting some good advantage here. They're counter-ganking BP well. They need to start worrying about the Medusa, though, because Yoku's going to accelerate. He went a pretty weak split shot build, so by that I mean he's not going to farm as fast as you normally would if he went full into split shot, but with Snake, he can actually still accelerate pretty fast if he pulls the creeps together, which he's doing. So looks like he's going for a fast Lincoln Sphere, a bit of an old school build, but it will be able to stop things like glimpse. That's pretty important, or maybe even amp damage from Slaughter. Could buy him some time in team fights. Another big one, actually, Static Link is maybe the most important spell to block with it. If he does that, he's going to guarantee his damage and hopefully be able to win team fights for his team.
Well, it looks like Complexity listened to you. They are going for 3-man smoke while Furion pushes in the mid lane. There's no tier 1 tower there, so they can get some easy information. They found Yoku. They're going to run into him, but it's just not going to have enough burst damage to deal with him right away. They have the Stone Gaze out, and Complexity are frozen in place. Now, they managed to get the glimpse back, still catching Yoku here, but the rest of Virtus.Pro are coming in. Yoku is eventually going to go down here, but VP can still get an advantage as they Dream Coiled up 2, almost bursted down the lip. The Finger of Death is enough with the extra bit of nukes. They get that kill, double for FNG. Now he challenges Swindles to a duel. Now gets Zero Spike as well, the stuns, and Swindle's going to fall. A 3rd hero down from Complexity, make it 4 or 5. It's now Z-Freak. It's going to be chased down by FNG. Hanskin nowhere to run to either. A dead end for him, and that's going to be a total wipe. Virtus.Pro managed to respond beautifully to the smoke gank of Complexity, and it all comes down to Complexity making the decision to go for that Dusa no matter what, even after the Stone Gaze.
Yeah, they defended that so well. I mean, it took so many spells for coL to try to kill her, and she lost so much time that everybody on her team was able to rotate in. And I know that wasn't a full 5v5 fight. That was like 3 smoke tiers for Complexity. Prophet TP's in. Maybe if Phoenix is there at the start of the fight, and maybe not even maybe, I almost guarantee they would have won that fight because they would have bought a lot of time for the Supernova and the double Sunray to go off. But by the time that Z-Freak finally got there, it was way too late. All of the enemy heroes were alive, and popping a Supernova just would have been suicide. So just the gank wasn't a good idea, but they were so close to the tower that killing Medusa just didn't come fast enough.
Yeah, Virtus.Pro, I think we're deciding cognitively to play a little bit more conservatively around that Dusa, knowing that Complexity's time really was at hand for them to get aggressive and try and get some control. And most of the time you're going to see the smokes pick off into tower, and that was kind of what that could have led to if Complexity could have successfully killed one hero with that smoke. They're still going to try and take control of the tier 1 though.
One thing they're going to see a line get. Mind. One thing I would have really liked to see, though, is that Disruptor was up there in the front when they went on the Dusa. Because they were able to silence follow-up on her, then she wouldn't get her ulti off, and they could actually kill her pretty fast with Static Link, right-clicks, and the minus armor. But because Hanskin was farther back, they weren't able to catch that initiation. Maybe they didn't even expect the hero to be right there, but they had to get that chain silence off, otherwise her ulti comes off and the delay happened. And that's literally what led to VP getting that 5-man wipe. So a little bit of misexecution, but mostly just really good play from VP.
Virtus.Pro, time for a smoke of their own. A 5-man. Bottom lane and middle lane are both pushing in pretty heavily, so Complexity may be expecting some return fire. Otherwise, VP would be taking mid-tier 1. So they start shoring up their defenses. They've got the ward already laid out, so when the smoke pops, Swindles will see something and will choose his initiation accordingly. They've already got the Doom onto Limp, though. The K comes out for the Earth Spirit, landing on both Swindles as well as Hanskin in the background. The silence goes down as well. Swindles totally ineffective in this team fight, and so is Limp as he's dealing with that Doom. Now the Dream Coil. Complexity totally being manhandled here by Virtus.Pro. They managed to get off the Supernova, but it just doesn't matter one bit. It gets the Doom kill, but Virtus.Pro still managed to trade once again 1 for 5.
What a perfect fight. They put the sentry down, they killed Complexity's ward, and at that point, they don't really know how the initiation's going to go. And it was so big that they put that scent down. Because then all of a sudden, Swindle's hiding in trees, can't see 3 heroes, can't see groupings of heroes. It became a Doom the heroes that they can see, and Swindles doesn't know how to react to it. So at that point, the fight was basically won. As long as Dusa got ult off there, completely straightforward, one-sided team fight for them.
And all smiles on the Virtus.Pro team as they're kind of feeling it now. That's 2 team fights in a row that they've won handedly.
Yeah, and they're going to scale better. They've got the Medusa. Their opponents have Slardar, Razor. They're more early game focused. They're not going to be as hard carry when we're talking 6 slots. And that's almost a Linken's now, Medusa. Her farm is completely accelerated from those last few fights.
Once you have the Lincolns, then you can start talking about more damage being built up on Yoku, and that's when the Dusa really becomes dangerous.
Yeah, stat items are super efficient for her this game, just because if she buys Ultimate Orb, for example, it's going to give her armor, HP, and mana pool. She just goes raw HP, things like Sunray and minus armor is really effective against her, so she can get everything she needs and still be pretty good.
Caught out here, but no disables, so TP easily get him out of the trees there.
The only other thing that I would maybe say about that fight is that I feel like Z-Freak's supernovaing a little bit too late. Consistently between game 1 and this one, he definitely waits a very long time. Sometimes that's super paid off in the previous game, but this one I feel like he needs to, like when shit hits the fan, sometimes you gotta press your R button, you know?
Yeah.
Like just force him to like make a decision in those next couple seconds, at least somewhat offset the advantage that the Medusa ulti gives you. And that it basically means your opponents can't fight you for 5 seconds or 6 seconds. Supernova would at least offset that a little bit, possibly give them some fight advantage. It didn't really ever lead to that.
Playing the long game. I do like the fact that Complexity, they spread out this time around after that team fight, and we're just trying to get some farm, but they're still keeping the lanes pretty far forward. Swindles, though, is going to end up running into Virtus.Pro here.
Will he? Maybe 2 ships in the night, maybe? Oh, they see him now.
Sprint and blink away. He's still behind the tier 1 tower, and Virtus.Pro may still be able to corral him. I don't think Swindle should be sticking around this one. This is looking like a fight that Complexity are going to have to full rotate forward instead of TPing, but it's actually not too bad. They actually do have a smoke, so they'll have some sort of surprise initiation.
Yep, Chesty's ready to TP. They can fight at any moment.
And now that the Lincolns is up, they're allowed to have Yoku on the front lines here. He's going to be the one who Complexity may have to blink on and try and go, but that's just not going to be successful. Doom again goes off on a limb. Now they manage to get the stun on him as well, holding him in place for Yoka to be able to get the stone gaze. Complexity can't look into this fight whatsoever. The Sunray goes down. Now a beautiful silent dream coil and swords on the background. Complexity still going to lose limb. Now they're going to lose their supports as well. And Swindles, the man who all started out this fight, may be able to get out with a sprint, but that's really the only hope. Chessie, actually, he's going to be able to TP his way as well. 4 down from Complexity. Again, for 1 VP.
This set reminds me so much of when VP played Secret originally. Game 1, pretty one-sided Storm. Game 2, they're just outplaying them. They're coordinated now. They're doing everything correct that they needed to do in Game 1, and they just took that fight perfectly. They doomed the Razor before he gets static link off or his ulti. The Sunray comes out to try to save him, and then that's the biggest, like, hey, G, please initiate over here, silence me and kill me. And that's what's happening. They're bursting him down. If no Supernova comes out, the fight's over. And Doom is just going to be relevant for the rest of this game. It's very similar to what we saw in the Alliance series. Doom against Slardar or a hero like Razor means that that hero doesn't do anything in fights. They have to cast spells, they have to stay alive, and Doom prevents a lot of those.
So what do you do now as Complexity? You've lost so many team fights in a row, but you still have a team that's supposed to get aggressive. Is there a set of items that you need to wait on? Is there maybe some sort of positioning that is more favorable for Complexity? What do they need to do next?
Initiating is always the easiest way to describe it. You go first, try to kill Puck, try to kill Doom. Either of those heroes would be great. Medusa will pop her ult to react to that, and that's when you get out, and then you re-engage afterwards. I think that's the best shot that they have to trying to shut down VP here. They have to have the better vision, and consistently what's happening is VP is fighting in areas where they have good vision.
Yeah. It's unfortunate they lost those 2 wards and a misplacement up in that top jungle earlier, as Complexity could definitely use some extra vision now. They're even farming together, Chessie and Swindles. And Virtus.Pro grouping up around the tier 2 area. There was plenty of heroes on map, so I'm assuming this is going to be some sort of smoke play, yeah.
They did just use their scan anticipating this, but it's actually a little bit later than it's happening. So.
Yeah.
Yasha now in Medusa means more attack speed, more movement speed. They might try to grab Razor here. They're going to go in.
Jump in, manage to get the blink onto Limp. Swindles intercepts with the 3-man crush, but the Doom is still down on Limp. All they need is just a clean retreat now, but Complexity still going to be caught by Swindles. He gets a little bit low, down to half HP. The Supernova is helping. Virtus.Pro going into this one, still hit by the Supernova, but they manage to get the coil. Again, stalling up Complexity to retreat in. No Fear is just doing so much with his Earth Spear. Disabling so many heroes, getting so much damage out over time. Complexity are still going to lose 3 despite several things going their way. The 3-man crush, the Supernova, those things were intended to allow Complexity to be able to disengage, but Virtus.Pro read that fight really well. G's like, we've won this fight. It doesn't even matter if Supernova successfully goes off, so I'm going to stop you with my Dream Coil.
Like, they just have so much AoE damage on VP, and I feel like Complexity just completely missed their timing. They lost 2 fights in a row while picking a 5-man early game lineup, and now, like, Medusa's actually looking good. She's been participating in all the kills. Her ulti has been effective. They're going to go in, though.
Whoa, another 3-man crush. Swindles hoping desperately that this one's going to be able to turn around the fight, but he's already dead. The finger of death, able to eliminate him. And Chessie in the background's going for a low hot dance, but now they've got the disable, and Chessie's in trouble, surrounded by 4 heroes, all right-clicking him down, and Complexity aren't looking healthy enough to be able to stage some sort of response. They're all back to base now as Virtus.Pro looking for more, are going to be able to get one more, perhaps. G gets the Dream Coil onto Hanskin, no fear in, nice and deep into that tier 3 tower, but they realize, hold on guys, this is a little bit too much. Let's just go back and kill Swindle's brother.
Complexity did have to go for that because they're so far behind, but they still are not getting the kills that they need. They didn't get the follow-up, the static link, most importantly, it broke on Lincoln, so the biggest damage, their biggest carry basically is Razor, and if that static link doesn't go through, if he doesn't eat up an extra 100 damage or so, 200 damage maybe, they have no solutions towards picking off these tanky heroes.
It all starts with that first really bad team fight that Complexity had. 1 for 5, and it just is going to continue to naturally get worse and worse as Virtus.Pro had the better carry, and we're talking 22 minutes. We weren't supposed to be seeing this Juica become a real big impact until at least 25, and then scale from there. But Virtus.Pro managed to make this lineup work so much earlier than it was supposed to, and we're seeing a dominant lead being gained by them. But again, Complexity know they have to fight. They're going to make the initiation. Complexity do get the 2-man crush, but that doesn't seem to make much difference in the path as Yoku pops the Stone Case again, preventing Complexity to be able to follow up on that initiation. Another crush with Swindles. Now the Supernova does finally change their fates. Yoku, he's going for the egg. They managed to kill it. Limp, he's still got the Doom on him, and Complexity have called it. They've called the GG, and the crowd is on their feet here in Moscow as Virtus.Pro keep their hopes alive.
And in the best celebration possible, Dota_friendly_color_B.
What?
I don't know, must be some motion or something. I don't understand it. But a really impressive win for VP there. That is the VP I know and love. When they play like that, they deserve to move on. And they're going to push it to a game 3.
A better late game, still managing to win the team fights 1-1 now in this series. I'm sure our analysts, they definitely didn't expect that one, heavily favoring Complexity's draft.